Recording.
Thank you so much. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to CEC28's monthly calendar meeting. This is the calendar meeting from May 2021. We want to thank all of you for being here, for being present, and for joining us in community to express yourself, listen to us speak, to get information, and also to share information. We have a very wonderful team of individuals this evening from across the district to bring you so much information, including our amazing superintendent, Tammy Pate, along with some presenters from various parts of our district and city to bring you information. We also have our wonderful CEC team tonight with us, who is ever so present, willing and able to serve this community, D28, the great 28. And it's only great because of members like them who stand up selflessly to serve its members. So thank you, council members, for being here. Also want to say thank you for our administrative assistant, Ms. Kreyòl Ayisyen, for doing an amazing job every month, tirelessly serving our community on the back end, behind the curtains, making it all look seamless and beautiful. Kreyòl, thank you for all that you do.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes. Before we start, I'm going to ask our recording secretary, Erica Cooper, to say a few words about our chat feature. Erica?
Okay. Hello, and thank you for joining us today. I want to also make an announcement because this is Teachers Appreciation Week, although we know that they require not just but an entire 365 days. So just want to say thank you and kudos for doing a great job. As far as with the chat, we ask that if you want to speak or have a comment or any concerns, write the word speak and your name, and you'll be giving time at the end of the meeting. Also, we ask that you practice and exercise good manners during a conversation within the chat room. We want you to stop, think about what you are going to say, and we look forward to hearing from you. So enjoy the meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Erica. So let's down to a roll call. Please just unmute yourself, council members, and let's say you're present or not. Vijay Ramjan, President, I am here. Second Vice President, Barbara Williams.
Here.
Thank you, Barbara. Second Vice President, Elena Amenova. Elena Amenova. She's probably running a little late. Didn't hear from her, but at this point, we'll just mark her unexcused until she shows up, right? Recording Secretary, Erica Cooper.
Present.
Thank you. Treasurer, Andy Matus King. Treasurer, Andy Matus King. Treasurer, Andy Matus King. Okay, not excused. Members, Ted Chang.
Here.
Thank you, Ted. Members, Micah Morrison.
Here.
Thank you, Mike. Members, Robert Tamayev. Council member Robert Tamayev. Okay, not excused. Members, Howard Pollock.
Present.
Thank you, Howard, and member Rajwinder Kaur.
Present.
Thank you for being here, Rajwinder. Excellent. So once again, welcome to D28's May 2021 calendar meeting. Want to thank all of you for joining us tonight from the comfort of your home and offices, etc., or cell phones. We want to thank you for being here with us. We know that you're making a sacrifice, but we are happy that on this platform we can reach so many of you across the district on one platform, right? And so we are grateful for that. At this time, without further ado, I will definitely ask our superintendent, Dr. Tammy Pate, to please make her remarks at this time. Our amazing, tireless fighter, Tammy Pate. Dr. Pate, go ahead.
That means I can't show my sleepy face. I have to be here. Good evening, everyone. Good evening. It is such a pleasure to be here with you on today. I'm going to be very short because we do have the Fair Student Funding presentation tonight, and I will be on the mic again during that time to answer and to support any questions. But I do want to say good evening and to just put best wishes out that everyone is healthy and staying well and staying safe. We are in the middle of some very exciting times in our district. We, of course, are in the middle of our elections for our new Community Education Council. I cast my vote. I hope you have already or will soon cast your vote. Our voice matters. And what we know in District 28 is that we empower every voice to be heard. Every single voice in this district is important and critical. And so we are excited for that. We are also in the middle of the 3K rollout, and I did share the schools that were selected as a preliminary selection, and now we have the final schools. I'm going to go ahead and read those final schools. The 10 selected schools were or are PS 55, PS 80, PS 86, PS 140, PS 99, PS 144, PS 160, PS 182, and PS 354, as well as one of our pre-K centers. That is exciting for us. We know that how we start matters, right? How we start matters. So if we can get our precious 3K scholars in a classroom and learning foundations of literacy, just imagine what we can accomplish if we do that right. And to that end, I want to, again, just in case you don't know, our CEC gifted the district some reserve funds, over $10,000. And then they graciously met with us to talk about early literacy in District 28. And we are underway with sound reading. They presented on last week. We will be rolling out the program very shortly, where we are going to begin using very sophisticated technology to begin to teach our littlest learners, that's a word, our littlest learners, really a phonics and sound-based literacy program. I've seen it work. I've also created opportunities in other places for these programs, and we have tracked research, and there's been a lot of really positive data coming out of that. Because you are funding and supporting us with doing this, we are going to be sharing that data with you as it is produced in our pre-K classrooms. And so that is an investment that you are making in us. You invest in us every day. This is just another kind of investment. And so we're very thankful. And so we're excited about what we're going to be able to achieve. We also are busy with our equity work across our entire district. As I told you previously, we have over 50 teachers who came together to co-write units of study that has the intention of encouraging social justice advocacy in all of our children. What does that mean? Identifying a cause that you can get excited about and want to put your stamp on it and do something about it. And so we're going to be bringing those units to you for you to become familiar with. And then we're going to ask you how you can support. That's coming, so get ready for it. And then we are looking forward to what we will be able to achieve in our classroom. I've said it many times before. I'll say it again. If we were to say there's a fairy tale, then the magic sparkly dust lives in the classroom. That's where it happens. That's where we change the world, is in our classrooms. And so we are investing all of our energy, all of our intellect, all of our passion right there. And so we are so thankful that our teachers across this district, again, answered the call to plan together with us to support this effort. And we cannot leave the principals out because they are the ones that crafted the outlines and the structure for this program. So we are so thankful to all of our school personnel, our school leaders, our teachers, our support staff, our specialized services. We are so thankful for everything that you are doing, everything you continue to do to make this district as great as it is. And I'm going to release the mic and thank you again for giving me an opportunity to just say hello.
Thank you so much. We are so grateful for the work that you do. And yes, my dear friends, CEC28 last year, due to the pandemic, we had an excess of our budget that we had to decide what to do with those funds. And our amazing CEC voted on giving those extra funds, 10,000 or more, to the district because we believe those funds that was allocated to D28 should remain in D28. And who better to know our school's needs than our superintendent? So we entrusted that money to her care in terms of her office, and they will decide what to spend that money best on. And we are so grateful that that 3K program that's coming into our district. Dr. Pate, thank you so much. It starts at that foundation age. So we thank you for really getting that, in there. Thank you so much. Sonia Rueda, can you please unmute and please announce yourself, introduce yourself, and if there's anything else you want to add, please go ahead.
Sure. Good evening, everyone. Glad to be here in this space with you. Just to kind of add to what Dr. Pate and Mr. Ramjadan has said, this is the opportunity for parents, right? We're doing voting for CEC, but also your schools should be in the process of having PAPTA elections, SLT elections for parents. So please take the opportunity and get involved. Just because you ask questions doesn't mean you have to run for a position, but ask. Oftentimes I get questions of why can't we have this, or why can't I get involved with that, and challenges and obstacles. Well, the opportunity is here. So please run, inquire through your parent coordinators. You can reach out to me, but please take advantage of the opportunity to have your voice heard in all these different venues and outlets and opportunities for parents. So I look forward to supporting you. We have training coming up for parent leaders. So please don't think twice about it. Just because you ask a question doesn't mean we're going to grab you, but we'll try to grab you. But please take the opportunity to get involved in your children's education, to find out what's happening behind the scenes. There's a lot of good things happening, and you want to be part of the action, not sitting on the sideline. So thank you again, CEC District 28, for inviting me. I'm Sonia Rueda, and I'll put my information in the chat. Thank you.
Sonia is one of the gems in our community, one of the behind the scenes, again, person who works tirelessly. Many of your concerns and questions that you have a lot of times ends up on her desk, and she works tirelessly for every parent in our district. Sonia, we thank you for all that you do. Thank you. And we acknowledge you. At this time, my dear friends, we're going to be having a CEC 2021 election video. As we know right now, we are in that season where, for the first time ever, every parent in this district get a chance to vote for your CEC, which is amazing. So I'll ask Crystal to please put that video up here, and we'll share that video this time. Thank you, Crystal.
All right.
Can everyone hear the video?
No.
No.
All right.
While Crystal gets that organized, I want to acknowledge Chantrice Keller, who is here tonight with us. She's always here at our meetings. Elaine Fan from the Comptroller's Office. Thank you, Elaine, for being here. Want to acknowledge Fayuz Ali, and also Sherry Algreta from Community Board 9 for being here. Want you all to know we see you, we acknowledge you, we thank you for being here, and also to all the principals. If you're a principal, if you're an educator, please put the word principal after your name or before your name so we can acknowledge you. And any teachers that's here tonight, any guidance counselors, any custodians, any lunchroom specialists, we want to know who you are. Please put your names on the put your name next to your title next to your name so we can know who you are. Crystal, you ready?
Yep, good to go.
Let's do this. Go ahead. I'm still not hearing anything. I'm not sure if anyone else is not hearing anything either.
Not hearing anything.
Can't hear you.
Okay. So what we'll do, Crystal, we'll have our next person start presenting, and then we can figure that situation out before. Yeah. In the meantime, thank you so much. Thank you. So this time, my dear friends, we're going to invite Naomi Ferguson McFarland. She's a Borough Field Support Center, and she's going to give us our FSF presentation. Naomi, please.
Good evening. Thanks so much for having me. I'm sorry that Naomi Alexander, your usual budget director, could not be with you tonight, so I'm here filling in. I will begin sharing the presentation and will be happy to take any questions toward the end. So please bear with me. Hopefully this will work.
Good evening. In this presentation, we will review Fair Student Funding, which is the largest funding source provided to New York City schools. Where does the Fair Student Funding come from? In the current school year, the $34.3 billion came mostly from New York City. Every year, the mayor proposes the amount of city tax levy funding we get, and the city council must pass the budget into law. The second largest source, as noted on the chart, comes from the state, and the federal government is our third largest source of funding. How is the $34.3 billion allocated? $18 billion go directly to school budgets. This covers school-based staff salaries and benefits, also textbooks, computers, materials, and instructional supplies that are needed. $5 billion goes to non-instructional costs. This includes the free breakfast and lunch available to all students, transportation costs, and loan payments on buildings for new construction and renovations. This is similar to mortgage payments. Another $5 billion goes to non-district schools. This covers schools and programs that educate New York City students but are not directly run by the New York City Department of Education. This includes tuition payments to early childhood centers for pre-K and 3K, charter schools, students with disabilities attending specialized schools, and supplemental services to students attending non-public schools. The last $6 billion is to support custodial staff and facility needs, school safety agents in school buildings, and academic support costs. Funds allocated to schools are under the responsibility of the principal. They, along with their school leadership team, create the school's comprehensive educational plan based on the specific needs of the students in their schools. Principals will work with the SLTs to create the school's budget in alignment to the CEP. And superintendents will supervise the principals in this process and must approve the school budget and their alignment to the school's CEP. As previously mentioned, Fair Student Funding is the primary funding source for most community district schools. Of the $18 billion allocated to schools, $10 billion is allocated through Fair Student Funding. The other $8 billion in federal, state, and local funding is distributed to schools for various specific needs. The DOE has approximately 100 separate allocations to schools, each accompanied by a school allocation memorandum, which details how the school must utilize these funds. Each school's Fair Student Funding allocation is calculated based on the number of students enrolled at each school and the specific needs of those students. This is called the weighted pupil funding model. Pupil needs are weighted based on the costs of meeting their educational needs. In a later slide, we will be presenting the proposed weights for the 2021-2022 school year. The proposed weights have not changed from the current year. Fair Student Funding provides for each school's primary instructional program and services. This includes classroom staff, school leadership, guidance counselors, social workers, administrative support staff, and school-based purchases like classroom supplies and services. Other non-Fair Student Funding allocations provide for other specific programs, including speech, counseling, 3K, and 4K. When it comes to Fair Student Funding, each school receives a foundation of $225,000. The remainder of the FSF is based on student needs and their respective weights. The basic grade weight on the top of this slide is allocated to schools for all students depending on their grades. On top of this, various other weights support specific student needs, including special education and English language learners. We will see this in more detail on the following slide. The base weight of 1.0 was equal to approximately $4,140 per capita in the current school year. The per capita is adjusted annually to reflect changes to the citywide average teacher salary. This amount is multiplied by each weight to determine the dollar amount. This slide shows the proposed weights to determine the fair student funding that will be allocated to schools in the 2021 through 2022 school year. We welcome your feedback on these proposed weights. At the end of this presentation, you will see the various ways that you can submit your input. On this slide, we see an example of how two students with individual needs are funded with fair student funding. Both students are elementary school students, so they are both entitled to the grade weight of 1.0 shown on the graph in orange. Both students are also English language learners shown in green. Sam is in a standalone ESL program, so he is entitled to the L weight of 0.40. But Alex is in a bilingual program, so he is entitled to the L weight of 0.44. Both students are students with disabilities requiring special education instructional services, shown in yellow. Sam requires less than 20% of special education services, so he is entitled to the special ed weight of 0.56. Alex is entitled to the special ed weight of 1.25 because he spends more time in a special education setting. Both students are also entitled to the academic intervention weight of 0.12 shown in blue. When you add all of these pieces together, Sam's needs total 2.08 while Alex's total 2.81. Because each weight is approximately $4,140, you must multiply this amount by the total weights for each student. That would give the school approximately $8,600 in fair student funding to support Sam and approximately $11,600 in fair student funding to support Alex. In November 2006, the Contracts for Excellence ruling determined that New York State was not meeting its constitutional requirements in funding public schools, and the state agreed to phase in additional funding to New York City schools over 4 years. However, during the recession, New York State walked away from this obligation. This year, the DOE received $1.9 billion less than its CFE mandated level from the state. Without additional state support, New York City has not been able to provide each school with 100% of their fair student funding obligation. The good news is that Chancellor Porter recently announced that the state has finally started to phase in funds that will allow schools to receive their 100% fair student funding entitlement beginning next school year. Despite this funding shortfall from the state, since 2015, New York City has invested over $1 billion to raise the fair student funding floor from 81% to 90%, with the goal of reaching 100% if additional funding became available. As indicated in the previous slide, thankfully, next year all schools will now be funded at 100% fair student funding due to the additional funding made available by the state. New York City has also made significant investments in order to maintain services for students through the COVID-19 crisis. For example, over 450,000 DOE-funded devices have been purchased and issued to students. Also, $80 million was provided directly to school budgets to fund staffing needs associated with programming in-person and remote learning models, and $10 million in planning grants to help schools prepare for the new school year. $50 million was also used for cleaning supplies and PPE, and $22 million for ventilation repairs, air purifiers, and partitions to support safety in our school buildings. Despite the many challenges associated with the pandemic, the DOE is planning for a standard timeline for the rollout of the 2021 through 2022 school budgets. Currently, the DOE is presenting CECs, the proposed fair student funding weights for the coming school year, as we are doing this evening. After this, the panel for educational policy will vote on the proposed fair student funding rates for the coming school year. And in the late spring, we hope to have budgets released to schools. You will find additional information on fair student funding on the DOE's Info Hub under Reports, and then by going to Financial Data and Reports. In addition, should you wish to look for individual school budgets, on each individual school webpage, you can go to Reports and then go to Budget and Finances, where you will see the details as to the different types of funding that schools received and how the principal has budgeted that funding for the current school year. At this point of the presentation, I would be happy to answer any questions that you may have. However, before then, I would like you to please take note of the email address and phone number where you can submit your feedback, as noted on the following slide.
Thank you so much. So if anyone has any questions, we would be happy to take those at this time.
So we will take the question at the end after all the presentations. If
Okay.
you appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. But if you can stop sharing, I appreciate that. Thank you so much. That was a lot of good information. 100% funding. Finally, right? That's great. Thank you so much. This time we're going to be having Susan Petzer, who's going to present on the lemon law arbitration and civil court and Spanish mediation services. And she is going to be talking about special education mediation services. Susan Petzer, go ahead.
Thank you very much for the opportunity. So I'm going to share my screen with you all. So I work, I'm actually the manager for lemon law arbitration, civil court, and Spanish mediation. But I have for 3 years managed special education early intervention access VR. We're right now cross training. So I switched positions for a while, but I'm still, I'm here. We're here for you. That's all I want to know. Doesn't matter who's actually there, but we're here to provide you services. We are a nonprofit organization. We've been, again, my name is Susan Petzer. That's my title right there, a little late. Community mediation services, and that's my mobile. I'm going to put at the end, and I think that we have the slides already shared with all of you. The extension, Laura works with me, and she's now being trained in special education, early intervention, and we're working together. We have been working towards helping the community since 1983. We are nonprofit, non-affiliated to anybody, funded by the state. We bring the Queens community. We are a CDRC, Dispute Resolution Center for the Queens County. So we bring people together, we strengthen relationships, and we help people effectively address their challenges and their problems and the issues and anything that they have related to a conflict. I'm here today to speak about special education mediation and what are the options for parents, schools, and agencies. So mediation is one of the options that parents have and the school have, actually parents would have in this case, because there is, we can say there's a state complaint, impartial hearing, and at any moment you can have a mediation if you have any of those. Or still you can just substitute and have a mediation instead, which is cost effective. Parents in schools and districts and don't pay a dime, in other words, because we're funded. The option for mediation is pretty much for parents, for school, and they can request a mediation. Mediation can be filed through us, which we are, again, like I explained, we're the Queens Community Center, Resolution Center. We are small, limited cases that we cannot mediate, which we're for talking about budgets and amounts and money, then we do not mediate those cases. Although when I do receive those cases, we receive those cases, I pass it on to the district to see what they would like to do or inform them that there is a request to mediate. Maybe they would like to directly speak with parents, but We normally don't mediate those cases, as the district knows that they're not really allowed to mediate those cases. There is no time limit, like, for example, you have a state complaint or impartial hearing, there is some time limit. You can have a mediation at any moment. So there's no time restraint to have a mediation. Is there a need to have an issue to have a mediation? Because mediation is really much when you have an issue, but can you mediate before? Of course you can, because it's a preventive. It helps parents and school and teachers and the school staff and the district itself strategize ahead when they see that this problem can arise in the future. It's not only when you have an issue. And the issues that we do mediate, not that we're restricted to any of them. Like I said before, we're only restricted to if you're talking about money. But here, if you're talking about anything, and I listed some of the most common ones, which is communication between parents and school and district, or parenting overall, if parents are having an issue with themselves and the school, and that is also possible. Behavior issues, relational, IEP or disagreements, or when the IEP service not provided, if there are no special needs services that are being provided to children, or parents are not really aware of what they could offer to their children, and school has noticed that there is a special need, they can request a mediation as well. Transportation issues, placement, evaluation, reevaluation, services that are provided extra, like sets or any other programs that they would like to directly ask the parents to have, or parents can ask the school to have. Frequency, behavior plan, and I put etc. because it's just basically anything you can have a mediation. Anything that you would not have to go to an impartial hearing or anything like that. Mediation is important to say. It's a voluntary process. So school is voluntary if, again, there's the topic I said it's an exception, but usually I never seen the school deny having a mediation. It could happen, but it's very rare. Now for parents, they can deny having a mediation or not have a mediation at all, but it's a voluntary process, and at any moment they're in the middle of a mediation, they just want to stop the mediation, they could stop at any moment. So nobody's tied to the process itself. It's confidential. Everything you say in mediation and everything that is said before, after mediation is not supposed to be disclosed. It's in us as staff and the mediators, we're protected by law. Exceptions are to confidentiality, child abuse, child neglect, and obviously the beautiful one, which I say, is the agreements. If you have an agreement in a mediation, that is not confidential. You want it to be followed up. Self-determinative, parties decide what they want to do. They decide what their plans are. Parents and schools sit together in the agency and they decide what they want to do moving forward. So it's self-determinative. Special education mediation is a process in which parties dispute sit down together with a neutral party, which is a mediator, and they discuss their ways of resolving issues. It's voluntary, again, like I said, it's confidential, it's free, and it's a way to restore damaged relationships. I think it's so important that parents and school have and maintain that relationship, and even staff, between staff and school and district, it's all a possibility of having the mediation and restore the relationships. Now, mediation is not as in a court hearing. There's no need of a witness. If you like to bring somebody to mediation, you're free to, but everybody has to agree to that. And evidence is not required, only if you want to bring it. It's not a process to determine guilt or innocence. It is not meant to punish anybody, and it's not constantly in legal advice. We can send those resources to parents in case they'd like to have those resources before they go into a mediation. How does mediation work? So parent or school or district who has an issue would like to have it resolved in mediation. They contact us, and there's an intake form, or you can call us directly. And the mediation is scheduled with a time that works for parents, the school, the district, and whoever wants to participate, like a special ed teacher, a psychologist, or anybody, or like a parent coordinator, or anybody who wants to be part of that mediation. It usually takes 2 hours in interrupted time. you can take for a mediation, but it could be less depending on whatever it is that is being discussed. Mediation session is held and maybe conclude breaking meetings, like you having a caucus and you need to talk about something, and that's called a caucus. I mean, I can explain that later if you guys like. Agreement is reached, a written agreement is drafted, reviewed, and signed at the session or after. CDRC, which is a CMS, Community Mediation Circle, will follow up after mediation to see if everything is okay with school and parents. This is the request. You can go directly to our site, which is here, or you can email Laura or me, which will send you, and I think the schools usually have this form. I don't know why this is going backwards. They have this form here. Who can attend mediation? Obviously the parent who's there representing the child. Anybody who's a decision maker. The decision makers are usually the district rep, the administrator of that district, the school principal or the assistant principal. Now everybody else can participate, and that is entitled to parents and school to decide who they want to be. Special education evaluators, service providers, nonprofit school personnel, interpreters, which is usually offered by DOE at no cost to parents and school, and attorneys and advocates who are involved. Usually we have a list of advocates that we send to parents, but if parents would like to have their attorney, which is rarely happens in a mediation because it's very costly, they don't have one. You can have one on the side. We do not pay for that, obviously. All participants are agreed to participate upon all parties agreeing to that. Mediator, who is a neutral party, unbiased. We don't take sides. We're not taking sides here. We're trained first to be a mediator, and then we take a special course to be a special education mediator. Have to be experienced, member of the community, not employed by the state's education department or the district. They're volunteers usually. They take their time to mediate these cases. Mediators will host a conversation between parents, school, and agency, encourage explanations, help clarify jargon, because sometimes parents don't understand what is first-time parent having an IEP. They don't know what the meaning of an IEP is or anything like that. That's explained throughout the process. They explore creative solutions to the issue in hand, because that's a mediator does. They help you clarify points and make sure that everybody's on point with that. Help parties to develop solutions that meet the needs of all, and write the agreement if one is reached. You can have a verbal, but usually it's written because the school like to have a copy of that moving forward. How do you prepare to a mediation? You decide what you really need and what you would like, and you're willing to put aside to reach their goal. You think of ideas and solutions in which both people walk away satisfied, and not only one person wins, but everybody wins. Consider the value in which sometimes it's stress that causes all this time for wait, money, time limits of moving forward, and you use that to resolve the mediation, moving aside all those problems. You have pretty much 2 hours to decide what you like to discuss in a mediation. How do you get most out of your mediation session? Mostly a mediator is there to listen to you, make sure everybody's heard, and then everybody understands. They're willing to, of course, if people are part of the mediation, they're there to listen to people's point of view, discuss ideas, issues that they don't agree with, ask any questions, clarifying questions, brainstorming ideas, and looking for ideas in common so they can move forward. How much does a mediation cost? Again, I said no cost to parents, schools, and agencies. Special education mediation, which is funded by NYSED, is free. Attorney fees are paid by respective parties. Interpreters are paid by the school district. That said, special education benefits, like I mentioned a few times, timely. It's usually just 2 hours and you walk out of there with no issues anymore, supposedly, right? But you address all the issues you have at hand, and then you're supposed to walk out of there in 2 hours. You have an agreement. Confidential, everything said in a mediation stays in a mediation except for the agreement itself. Parents and school and staff are in control of the outcome. Nobody's there Mediator is not deciding for you. He's guiding you and helping you find the underlying issues and resolve the issue together. Improves communication, repairs relationships, especially parents, school, district. There is no cost to parents and schools, and mediation does not deny, delay an impartial hearing request. So you can still have that impartial hearing request and have a mediation. Thank you for your attention. If you have any questions, I'll be gladly answer them after. This is my contact information. And we're here for you. That's all I have to say for now. I don't want to take too much of your time. Thank you very much. I hope I wasn't too fast for the translators, but I try to use the time wisely so I don't waste too much of your time, but you know we're here for you. So anytime you need us, we're here. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Susan. And thank you to Simone Donbach for suggesting this service to be presented to our team here. We welcome suggestions from the community. If you know there's a resource that you have used, that you've heard of, that you think many more parents can benefit from, shoot us an email. We will definitely listen to you and try to find a way to have these services in our district. And many of you parents could use these services if you can. Susan, please can you put your information in the chat feature, and then families can contact you directly there. Again, we want to remind everyone, if you want to speak, just put the word speak. We will be closing the chat, the option to put your name to speak very soon. If you want to speak or ask any questions or make a comment, just write the word speak in the chat feature and we'll call your name based on how it was listed. At this time, Ted, are you ready to share the video?
Yeah, give me a second.
Okay, go for it. And again, this video is about the elections for CEC, new process happening. So then I'll be followed by Robin. You'll be up next.
And welcome. Thank you for joining us today to find out about the 2021 elections. Citywide and community education councils replaced school boards in 2003. You may be wondering why you've never been asked to vote in a CEC election before. Well, until this year, only 3 parents in each school voted for the council members. Recently, the law was changed as parent leaders lobbied Albany to open voting to all New York City public school parents, creating the largest parent engagement activity our city has ever seen. These next few slides will give a brief overview of the councils and their role. Every school district in the city has a community education council. They represent students from pre-K to 8th grade within that district. Citywide councils represent different populations of students who may be anywhere in the city. High schools, students with IEPs, students in District 75 schools, and English language learners. All community education councils have 11 voting members, 9 are elected, and 2 are appointed by the borough presidents. All seats are up for re-election. To make sure our students are represented, each community education council has 2 seats that are reserved for the parents of an ELL student and a student with an IEP. You can read on this slide about some of the duties of the councils. The best way to find out about what a council does is to attend a CEC meeting. All meetings are currently held online, so it's easy to stop in and see how the council functions. Citywide councils have the same number of members as community education councils, except for the Citywide Council on High Schools, which elects 2 parents from each borough for a total of 10 elected members. For more information about the work of education councils, visit the Elections 2021 website listed here. From holding town halls with the Chancellor and other DOE officials to visiting individual schools, education councils' roles are varied, but their purpose is simple. Parents want better schools. Parents want all our city students to have access to quality education, manageable class sizes, and modern facilities. you have a vital role to play in electing a strong education council who can successfully represent your school community. For the first time since councils were formed, all our families in the New York City public school system are eligible to vote for the parents who will be on the councils that serve their children. You might be wondering about which councils you will be voting for. These examples show that eligibility is based on the student. One child may make you eligible to vote in more than one council election. If they have an IEP or are an English language learner, it would expand eligibility to additional councils, as is the case for both of these families shown here. If this is still a little unclear, don't worry. The voting website directs you to the councils you're eligible for. Parents vote using their New York City Schools account. You might have heard it called My Student, which is the website address that you use to log in. If you don't have an NYC Schools account, you can click the Create Account button on the login page and open an account, which only takes a few minutes. In order to see the information about each of your children, you will need to link your students with a special creation code sent to you by your parent coordinator. So here we are on the home page of the school's account. You can see each of the students are represented in their own box. If you want to see the information that's available on one child, you would click Select for that child. In this case, we're going to look at the green banner and we're going to click Vote Today. As I just mentioned, parents can be eligible for more than one council per child. In some cases, that can mean a lot of councils. This family has 6 students, 3 of whom are served by more than one council. When more than one child is served by the same council, parents will have additional ballots to fill out for those councils, receiving 3 votes per child per ballot. So here's an example of the ballot with a maximum number of candidates selected. There's also a link to the profiles submitted by the candidates so that you can read their statements and learn about them before casting your vote. It's very important to scroll down the page and view all of the candidates on the ballot. Once you've submitted the ballot, it closes, even if you didn't use all of your votes. And once submitted, you cannot make any changes. So after you've submitted your ballot, you then click on the icon to view your receipt, which will have a unique identifying number and the names of your chosen candidates. You can then either choose to leave the voting site, or you can select the Vote for Another Council button to complete the other ballots you're eligible to vote in. Once submitted, a ballot will appear as complete in both parents' NYC Schools accounts. One way to learn about the candidates is to attend a candidate forum for that council. There's a registration site on the Elections 2021 webpage where you can register to attend a live event, view the recordings of earlier forums, and read candidate statements submitted by the applicants. Parents have a powerful voice in shaping the policies and priorities for New York City schools. Your participation in these elections is a way to ensure that the strongest parents are elected to represent you and your students. So make sure all you and your fellow parents get signed up to their NYC Schools account, attend a candidate forum or an education council meeting, and keep an eye out for our marketing campaign, which you will see on bus shelters and kiosks, as well as hearing about the election on the radio and social media. Share and forward information to your fellow parents so that everybody can play their part. That brings us to the end of our presentation. Please email us at elections2021@schools.nyc.gov if you have any further questions. And thank you for participating in this historic process.
Thank you so much, Ted. And I know that was not your voice. Um, if you could put on the chat what you think that accent, which country that accent was from. It's a little fun activity we can do in the meantime. What do you think that accent was from? Let's see what you think. So this time, thank you so much, NYC Schools Committee and all this action. Thank you so much. At this time, we'll have Robin Singh, a team leader from Queens Problem Gambling Resource Center, and he will present at this time. Robin, go ahead.
Thank you, BJ. Good evening, everybody. All right, let me see if I can get my screen up here. There we go. Oh, there we go. Okay. Alrighty. Well, good evening, everybody. My name is Robin Singh, and I am the team leader for the Queens Problem Gambling Resource Center, part of the NYC Problem Gambling Resource Centers. And first off, before I begin, just want to say a special thank you to VJ and to the council here for allowing us to come here and bring our programs to you guys. It's really, really important for right now, just because we are actually on the precipice of New York legalizing mobile sports betting. So we definitely want to bring the awareness to parents, to schools, to as many different communities as we possibly can, just to have everybody in the community just prepared for this event to happen, just so all the parents and everybody are ready. And with that, I'll begin. So first off, we are the New York Council on Problem Gambling. Who are we? What do we do? What are we here for? Why am I speaking to you folks? Well, we are a nonprofit, and we're actually an independent corporation, and our main focus is that we want to increase public awareness surrounding problem gambling, and we like to advocate for support services targeting individuals adversely affected by gambling, meaning we want to find these folks that are in the community and connect them with the treatment that they need. In addition to that, we actually maintain a neutral stance on gambling. What does that mean? That means we are not for or against gambling. We only exist just to bring folks who are having this issue together with treatment. All right. Now, what is gambling? What does that even mean? Oops. What is gambling? Now, gambling is when you, whoops, that keeps happening. Gambling is when you risk something of value on a game of chance in the hopes of a desired reward. You know, when you put your quarter into the slot machine, you pull the lever, that's you risking something of value at 25 cents in the hopes that you will actually win a lot more. And when does it become problem gambling? That's when that 25 cents has a negative impact on your life. That's when the gambling starts to really, really cause problems in your life or the lives of others around you. Meaning that 25 cents was the last bit of money that you needed to get home that night with your train fare. And internet gambling, same concept as the above. It's just when you risk something on a game that you actually find on the internet. This is going to become very, very, very big if it hasn't already in the next coming months with this mobile sports betting becoming legal. You folks are going to see a lot of this in your schools, I'm sure. Next up. So this is where we have the spectrum of gambling, right? So what does this mean basically? No gambling, at risk gambling, problem gambling, and gambling disorder. But no gambling, that's a person who doesn't take part in any of these kinds of activities at all. At risk gambling is more of a social gambler. That's a person who effectively just, you know, they gamble every now and again. You know, you guys take a ride down to Atlantic City, or, you know, it's just a little isolated event for a birthday or something like that. But they're a person who knows basically when to stop. Problem gambling is when that social gambling begins to have a negative impact on your life and the lives of people around you. That's when it starts to really, really eat into your time, eat into your money, and start to actually really, really affect your relationships and your health sometimes. Gambling disorder is when that problem gambling effectively becomes a diagnosable condition under the DSM-5, which is how we kind of determine any kind of psychological dependencies, such as substance abuse. All right, moving on. Now, with at-risk gambling and problem gambling, there's a couple of overlaps here, and it's, you know, the reasons for gambling. A person who's at risk, they might just be doing it for fun. Somebody who's got problem gambling, they basically need to do it. They absolutely have to. It's a necessity. expectations basically means somebody who's at risk, they win or they lose. They don't really care. It doesn't really matter to them. Somebody who's a problem gambler, they're always expecting that win to come right around the corner. Always, 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 always about to win. That's a person who knows what they're doing and they really want to win every single time. Treatment of time and money for these two effectively means at-risk gambler. Everybody has that limit. All right, I'm going to go to the casino. I'm going to spend $100. If I lose, I lose. If I win, I win. But I'm not spending more than $100, and I'm not spending more than an hour there. Problem gambler, that limit doesn't really exist. You spend $100, going straight to the ATM to get some more. If you don't win after an hour, you might want to spend another hour. Don't win in that hour, another hour. It doesn't really have a limit. Reaction to loss is pretty much the same thing. You don't really care if you lose when it's just at risk. Problem gamblers get devastated when they lose. They can't handle it. It's something that really, really hurts them badly. Sometimes it happens with adults and with children as well, who become addicted to things like online games. You've seen the kids kind of lose their minds when they play the games, and they lose and they open the loot boxes and they don't get anything valuable after spending money on them. It's definitely one of the warning signs. Level of disclosure, same thing for problem gambling. It's going to be something that they hide. You're not going to want to hear about it. You're not going to want to have to deal with it. So they're going to hide it as much as they possibly can so that they don't have to stress people out with the fact that they're kind of addicted. Now, these are some more of the warning signs. Some of these are going to be painfully obvious, but some of them are a little bit more hidden. And that's one of the reasons why we refer to gambling addiction and problem gambling as what's called a hidden addiction. Now, chasing losses is kind of like what we just discussed, where some of these folks, they lose and they think that win is right around the corner and they basically have to win back the money that they lost. Some of these other folks, they use gambling as an escape. They're stressed out. You know what? I'm not having a good time at work, not having a good time in school. Let me go ahead and play my video games and buy a bunch of loot boxes. Or let me go ahead and hit the casino. Or let me just open up this app and throw some money at the screen here and see if I can win something back, just to make myself feel better, right? A lot of these different things are what we discuss in some of our other programming here at the council and here in the Problem Gambling Resource Center, right? Now, here are a bunch of figures that some of you folks that work in education might have seen before. Other folks that work in prevention and training will be more familiar with. 2 million US adults are estimated to meet the criteria for severe gambling problems each year. Now, 1% might seem like a small amount. That's 2 million people. That's almost the entire amount of people that are in Brooklyn right now, right? That's about 3/4 of Queens. Another 4 to 6 million, or 2 to 3%, are considered to have mild or moderate gambling problems, right? That's a lot of people. That's about 8 million people total. 49% of people that are diagnosed with a gambling problem also have a mood disorder, and 18% of gambling addiction folks have attempted suicide. That's one of the actual addictions that have the highest rate of suicide in any form of any kind of addiction. And in addition to that, there's some other comorbidities here as well. 73.2% are addicted to alcohol. They're alcoholics. 38.1% have a drug use disorder, and 60.4% have nicotine dependence. So as we see, there are a lot of different comorbidities here with gambling. Now, at the PGRC, with all that information, kind of absorbed here, what we do to kind of combat these things and to kind of effectively just reach out and get people the help that they need, we provide trainings, which include continuing education credits for folks that are, studying to become social workers and things like that. We effectively kind of work with a lot of different community-based organizations where we refer individuals to care, meaning if you guys know some folks that are in need of our services, that they are in dire need, they don't know of any places that they can reach out to besides Gamblers Anonymous or just, nothing in general, we get them and we get them taken care of. We connect them with our clinician network. We get them the treatment that they need. And we also do comprehensive needs assessments, which is effectively we gather information from community stakeholders and community members, very much like yourselves. And that's effectively how we—
Where's your Zoom on? Turn that off.
Because I need to take a picture of it.
Hello.
You have an iPad. You can do it with the iPad now.
It takes longer.
Whoops. We gather information from community stakeholders and community members. That's just basically how we kind of tailor our approach. and we kind of cover any gaps that there are within the community. That's one of the things that I do primarily. I like to look at the needs assessment and the work plan from the previous year, just to kind of determine what areas, what communities, what groups have we not spoken to, and I want to fill in that gap as much as possible. I've noticed that, you know, a lot of folks, we actually haven't reached out to many educational institutes and groups and gatherings within Queens. So here I am. I'm here to talk to you folks. All right. Now, a little bit more information about what we do here with the PGRC Clinical Network. Every one of the boroughs here in NYC, we have a group of licensed counselors who specialize in problem gambling. Now, I do need to let you know that the PGRC is generally, they don't handle youth, but we can actually render care to anybody that actually has parental permission. So if
1 minute
parents
mark,
give us a call,
Robin,
and they-
1 minute mark, please.
Gotcha. Alrighty. And we also have some other groups here, Gamblers Anonymous family groups that we do. And we work with the casinos as far as self-exclusions. Here are some more benefits here to joining our clinical network and some more benefits of our clinician network as well. Once you join, if you have questions about that, my program manager, Shauna Black, who might have actually left by now, she actually can definitely help you a little bit more with questions on that. We can send you that information if you give us a call or send us an email. And here is our contact information here citywide. Of course, I can provide this information to any of you folks at any time if you have a need for us in the boroughs. So please, there's the Queens number right there, 347-761-3103. If you give that number a call, you'll be connected to one of us and we'd be able to help you out. And here's our team citywide. You might recognize a certain really ugly guy on that picture there, but we're here to help you folks out. So please, we definitely want to hear more from you if we can. I'm actually going to pop a little stakeholder survey into the chat here right when I'm finished up. And if you guys take a little bit of time to fill that out, I'd be really, really grateful to get any feedback I can. Thank you so much for allowing me to present today.
Thank you so much, Robin. And, you know, in D28, when we think about the child, we think of the whole child, right? The whole child includes the parent's home, the child's home. So, you know, if we have any parents in here, or if you know anyone in our district who might benefit from these services, please, 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 Robin, put your contact information in our chat here, so we can definitely share this information to our various constituents. And also that information will be on our website. If you ever need to get any form of help, please, please, please do. At this time, we have our President's Council to give their report, and after which we'll have our council members give their individual reports. President's Council, we'll have Mrs. Zillow, Jessica Zillow. Go ahead, please.
Good evening, everyone. Actually, my presentation was actually going to be on the CEC elections. So thank you for showing the video and explaining how people are able to vote. Just remember that you have until May 11th. I'm going to ask Sonia to go ahead and put in the couple of links that we have so you can look at the candidate forums. And also there's some more information for you. So I just wanted to stress that now is your time to vote. Please take this opportunity. It's not just up to the PA or PTA executive board anymore. It's up to all of you to vote in your next CEC. Thank you very much. VJ, back to you.
Thank you, Jessica. Was that your voice on the video?
No, I know who that is. That's Martha.
I thought it was. It was Martha. Yes, she
Yes.
did a great job. So, you know, my dear friends, President's Council, they have the meeting, and their meetings are always full of information. It comprises of the entire district also. Jessica, if you could put a little link on our chat here with the time and next date for your meeting, that'd be great. So if parents can join your meeting also, that'd be amazing.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you. And Jessica Zillow is the co-president together with Barbara Williams, who's our first vice president here. They are together presidents of the President's Council, which has the presidents of all the PTAs across the district. Great, great, great platform to be able to join a wonderful group of hardworking people on that group. Grateful for the collaboration. Thank you, Jessica. At this time, I'm going to go down the list and ask our fellow council members if you have any reports to please do so as I call your name. First, we'll call on Barbara Williams.
Sorry, VJ. Unfortunately, I have no anything to report this month. I just want to say thanks to President's Council for hosting the CEC candidate forum. Thank you all for coming, for being here tonight. Goodbye.
Thank you, Barbara. I think Elena Aminova, are you here at this time, Elena? No, she's not. Okay, and then we'll have our recording secretary, Erica Cooper. Erica? Erica Cooper?
She didn't come back yet, VJ.
No worries. And then Treasurer Andy King, did he come in? I don't think I saw him. Then we go to members 10, Ted Chang. Ted?
Hi, everyone. I saw that Sonia was trying to share translation links in the chat, and I appreciate that she was trying to do that, although I have not seen any translated material in terms of the elections. So I'm not aware that those actually exist. If they do, that's kind of new. And I'm personally a little bit sensitive to translation issues. I lived in Taiwan and trying to take classes in Chinese and read, using Chinese textbooks. It was very similar to the experience of, immigrants who come to America and are dealing with everything in a new language. And I'm very cognizant of how much sort of foreign language overload that can be. So just being sensitive to that issue, I sort of put together my own one-pager on the elections. And that includes a link to Google Translate, which is not perfect, but in these situations, a little bit of information in your native language is sometimes better than nothing. So I'll share that in the chat. Thanks.
Thank you, Ted. Next, we have Micah Morrison. Micah?
I'm sorry, Vijay, you may just add, thank you, Ted, for making me aware of that. It is, they do have translation. If you go on the website and you just have the translation, it's Google, but you can see it in different languages. So at least at the very minimum, the FAQs in there is available for parents in different languages.
And just one more thing on translation. So many of you parents ask us, why don't we have Russian? Why don't we have Yiddish? Why don't we have various languages for translations? There has to be a need. So if you don't tell us you need these translations, or we don't see there's a need for it in our meetings, we can't tell DOE to send representatives over. So please, if you think you need translation for any specific language, we will make sure we get it here for you, but we can just volunteer that information. We have to hear it from a parent or any constituents who say we want to have translation services in that language. Just FYI. Micah Morrison, go ahead, member.
Oh, I'm sorry, VJ, could I just add something? So Sonia's right. I just looked at the link. The link itself is in English when you click on it, but at the very top, there's sort of this powered by Google Translate thing. So if you click on that, you can change the language. So I didn't notice that before. So
yes,
that's very helpful.
Thank you, Ted. Micah Morrison, without further ado, please.
Yes, I would just say on responding to the immediate issue, on Ted posting a one-pager on the elections, we should know that Ted is a candidate for re-election. I think that would be important to note in any document that he is posting. Other than that, I have nothing to report except that the budget presentation was excellent, and I'm hoping we can get that provided to us as a slideshow. That's it for now.
Sure. In the past, we have had that provided to us, so we can also get a copy of that. I have it on our website for Naomi. Can you confirm, please?
Yes, I actually just sent it via email to the CEC28 email address. If you'd like, I can put it in the chat as well.
Yes, let's do that, please. Put it on chat. We want our families to also have transparency and also have access at their fingertips. There it is.
Okay, will do.
Thank you so much, Naomi. And next we have Robert Tamayev. Robert, you are here, so we'll mark him present.
Yep.
Robert.
Hi, everyone. Nothing necessarily to report. Want to say thank you, everyone, for being here. I think it's great that so many parents in our district are running. So hopefully we have a great election. So good luck to everybody.
Thank you, Robert. Howard Pollack.
BJ, thank you so much. Great to see all my colleagues and everyone participating. It's also wonderful to see our superintendent, Dr. Pate. There is no finer superintendent in the entire school district of New York City. And we're very lucky to have her. I want to reference something that she brought up. Dr. Pate said that fundamental change in society occurs in the classroom. I cannot agree with her more. As many of you may have read, hate crimes in New York City have risen astronomically. Hate crimes against the Asian community especially have risen 400% this past year. Disgusting. I intend to bring up at the business meeting a discussion of how and what happens in our classrooms with our children, how tolerance is being taught, what is being taught, so we can get a handle on it, understand, and maybe make suggestions. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. I see Erica is back here. So Erica, do you have
Yeah.
anything to report?
Yes, it's not so much of a report. I did touch on it earlier, and I just wanted to say that, you know, for the opportunity to be able to attend some of the SLT meetings just brought to my attention of what the great works that the teachers, the principals, the assistants, everybody is doing during this difficult time. And I just want to read a quote from John Quincy Adams, and it says, if your action inspires others to dream more, learn more, do more, and become more, you are a leader. And I just want to say that the teachers, principals in District 28 have done that and then some. And if I had to use some words to describe them in the ABCs of nursing, as we call it, which is very critical, they are ambitious, they are brilliant, capable, competent, creative, determined, dedicated, efficient. I can go all the way to Z, but I know we don't have the time for that. So teachers, just remember that this was a difficult year. And right now in this moment, every obstacle, every task has all been for a purpose. No matter how difficult things got, your presence made a difference for our children today, tomorrow, and in years to come. And I just want to say thank you. I applaud you. We applaud you. And normally we would be celebrating. So I'm celebrating along with all the rest of you. Job well done. It was a pleasure serving on the CEC for District 28 because we have the best. Continue. And that's my report. Thank you.
Perfectly stated. Thank you so much, Erica. And you know, many of you may not know Erica is a frontline worker, and we want to acknowledge her, that she also put herself on the front lines. And you and Barbara, they're both frontline workers. Dr. Tamayev also, Robert also. We thank all of you, and we acknowledge you for showing up on these platforms month after month, meeting after meeting. And we couldn't imagine what you were going through, but you were there. We acknowledge you. Erica, thank you. Next, we'll have Rajwinder Kaur. Rajwinder.
Good evening, everyone. Nothing to report. Just want to thank you, everyone, for joining the meeting tonight, especially the teachers and the principal for their appreciation and for their hard work. And thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So my report literally is not too long, but I want to say D28 successfully held the first ever town hall on gifted and talented this past, a couple of weeks ago. Last week, and we had a lot of people, 156, which is amazing. Family members showed up, constituents, and you spoke out. We love it. You took that microphone and you said, well, that microphone, you know what I mean? You took the platform and you said what you had to say. You meant it. And we had a spectrum of opinions on what you, D28 constituents and stakeholders, what you thought about gifted and talented. Why did we do that meeting? We did that town hall because we want to give your voices a platform to be heard. Why? The CEC, as it is right now, we had sent out a letter before the DOE decided to have GNT again, providing both platforms and both ideas of what parents feel about GNT. We want to have a broader, a way of really getting parents' opinions and comments. And we had this town hall. We had our executive superintendent, Dr. Mauricio de Govaya, and also our superintendent, Dr. Pate, and they were taking notes and notes and notes because their voice is going to be, asked to be heard when these topics come up. And your voices were heard. And we, the CEC, as it is right now, We are going to take every one of your voices into consideration as we continue to discuss and provide CEC 28's opinion about how G&T should be in the future. So we want to thank all of you who showed up, and we will continue to bring you town halls. There's a request to have a town hall on IEP, and we will definitely work hard to make that happen. Also, I want to echo what Erica said to all of our principals, all of our teachers. This is the first time ever so many principals come out to the CEC meetings. First time ever. And Dr. Greco, yes, let's call him Dr. Greco. Principal John Greco, he's always on. Principal Vincent Sirachi is always on, and many others. You're always on. That speaks volume. We thank you. We acknowledge you. And all the other principals who are here tonight, we want to thank you for being here tonight with us and supporting us. We want to acknowledge also tonight, we have Sophia, I think, Bennett. She's a parent coordinator from PSQ86. And also we have Patricia Powell, a teacher, who's on with us tonight too. Please tell your fellow teachers and parent coordinators, this is a platform we want to see them here. There's a lot of information here, and come out and be present. To all the candidates who have been attending all the forums, I want to thank our President's Council. I'm going to thank Jessica Zillo and team for also for hosting the forums. They were very, very good. Thank you so much. And to all the candidates who've been running, I'm so excited about this district because there's so many passionate parents and candidates who want to serve on the CEC. It's phenomenal. And whoever gets to be on the CEC next year, I'm confident that our district will be taken care well. It'll be well in good hands. Yeah. So at this time, we'll move along to our next part over here, and we will have now a vote on the CEC28 bylaws. So we want to do that first before we have public comment. Right after this, we'll have the public comment. So we're gonna have a vote on the bylaws as it is. We have to do this CEC28 as now. We worked very hard to make sure we update our bylaws. And the next council will have a chance to do the same thing too. So at this point, we'll have our bylaws presented, and then not in full length because this went out to the community many times already for public viewing. And then we're gonna have a quick vote on this. So let's go for it.
So how do you want to present? I guess is BB on the call?
Bylaws. Let's present the bylaws, and then we'll make a motion to vote.
I'm gonna drop them in the chat. And I think we should probably vote to approve it after public comment, though, BJ, because technically it's sort of like it's a resolution.
I agree with Ted. There should be public comment before a vote.
Let's do that. Sorry, my battery's running low. Hold on 1 second, please.
Oh, we could present the bylaws. I'll drop it in the chat, and then
yes, let's do that.
Do you want me to, or do you want to go through it, or I don't know?
Yeah,
what you
let's
want
do
to
that. Let's do that.
Okay.
Let's do what you suggested. Okay, so we have this time. The first person we have is Ari Feldman. Ari, please unmute yourself and go for it.
Hi, thanks for having us. I had a question actually for the woman who presented on the fair student funding.
Naomi, yes.
Naomi, yeah. One thing that I thought I read, and maybe you can clarify a little bit, is that the budget at the state was not just that we would get 100% of our fair student funding, but that actually because there's so much money that is back owed, like a few $1 billion that are back owed from previous years not getting our fair student funding. If I'm understanding right, the state is also giving us that back pay as well. So my question is, one, is that understanding correct? And two, if it is, how is that funding? Is that funding going to go directly to schools? I know that the chancellor recently announced some new programs for students. Is that where that funding is going, or is that from the federal funding? So any clarification on that would be really helpful. And one other thing that I'm going to say before I end is I'm going to post in the chat. I'm a member of an organization called D28 Action for Equity. We had a candidate forum Some candidates were able to make it, and I'm going to post a link to that video if anybody would like to see that as well. Thanks.
Naomi?
Sure. So that's a good question. Back in 2006, the state was, because of a lawsuit, they were supposed to, and they agreed to provide the city with funding to be able to get these schools up to 100% of fair student funding. However, when the recession began, they claimed there was no funding to be able to fulfill that promise. So what happened in these past few years is that because the state was not providing the city with the funding that they were supposed to, the city did everything they could to provide funding so that the schools can go as far up as possible with their fair student funding. However, it was never enough to make it to 100% for every school. And that's where these past few years, that's why there's been a shortfall every year. And it totals into the billions. Now, having said that, the funding that the state is now phasing in is because of the funding that the federal government now is providing, and the state in turn is able to give us funding so that next year we can push schools up to their 100% of fair student funding entitlement. Doesn't mean that they're going to get all the money that we were owed from the back pay per se, but moving forward, starting next year, schools will be able to go from, most of our schools are at 90%. So to be able to go from 90% to 100% of fair student funding means a substantial amount of money that our schools will now be able to receive starting next year. I hope that answered the question.
Thank you so much. Our next person will be Simone Donbark. Simone?
Hello, good evening, everybody. I would just like, I'm wearing many hats, and I have been part of the Ed Warrior cohort from the Alliance of Quality Education. And the Alliance of Quality Education has been doing advocacy for nearly 30 years to actually receive that funding that the children in New York City were owed. And so we have been very happy that this happened. And they have a questionnaire for parents. They are having a survey to ask parents what they need, what they think their child needs urgently in school. And I would like to just drop it into the chat. The deadline is tomorrow. Please fill it out. It's important because they will continue to do advocacy for all the New York City children. And so it's good to hear as many voices as possible. And that's it. Thank you all.
Thank you so much, Simone. And next we have Santrice Keller. Santrice, can you please unmute and you can speak?
Good evening. Thank you so much. I don't want to take time away from the parents and community members that want to discuss the resolution and the other important announcements like the two we just heard. So I just will drop some information in the chat.
Okay, thank you so much for being here, Santrice. We appreciate you always being here. Thank you so much. And that brings us to the end of our public comment. At this time, we will have our resolution.
VJ, Jessica had put speak. I didn't see your card.
Oh, no. Oh, the list I got didn't have. And I also saw, oh, there it is. Jessica Zilo and so Jean Han. Jessica and Jean Han. So now that it has been closed off. So Jessica, go ahead, please. And Jean
I
Han.
actually that there was one person before me on that list.
I'm seeing you as the fourth person. Oh, who's the name? I'll find them. That's fine. Go ahead.
Okay, I'll ask my quick question because it's about fair student funding. I had two questions. One, does the fair student funding cover nurses for all DOE schools? And with the influx of money that we're now receiving, will there be a reduction in class size? I can forward you some information to the CEC in regards to perhaps a letter or resolution that maybe the CEC could sign on about the reduction of class size and about maybe hiring more teachers for our district to help. I learned today that the reduction of class size could also mean like having more than one teacher in a class to help alleviate the overcrowding a little bit.
Okay, so with regard to nurses, fair student funding does not fund nurses. Nurses are not on schools' budgets. With regard to your other question with reducing class size, we sincerely hope that with schools now receiving 100% of fair student funding, principals along with the SLTs can come together and work out a plan to reduce class size funding. That's not a separate funding that's provided to schools per se. When we speak about fair student funding, it's a very flexible funding source where principals along with the SLTs can decide how they want to achieve their CEP goals by, crafting a budget that can cover all of the school's needs. So hopefully the increase in funding will help in this way.
Thank you.
Jessica, yes, you can send us anything our way to the CEC. We'll gladly take a look at it. Thank you so much. Jean Hand and Stella Zhu, and then we'll close off the public comment section because we had a lot of time to put up our names on the list here. So we do have to close the feature at some point, right? So let's go, Jean Hand, please go ahead.
Hi, everyone. Thanks, VJ. So mine's a question regarding gifted and talented. Mayor de Blasio, when the PEP voted down to have the G&T admissions test, said that he promised to the public that he would have open engagement where parents could provide input for gifted and talented and on how it could be reimagined. So I have yet to hear anything, and I'm wondering if our CEC has heard anything, if the town hall the other night was expected to be, part of that. I would just like a little more clarification because I think that the public does deserve, and from what we saw the other night, there are many opinions about this. The public does deserve to have public input on a new process or a new program.
Thank you for your question. Yes, that town hall that we hosted, that was our personal own district, or specific town hall that we hosted. That was not meant to be DOE based or led. So we were told they will be also hosting their own community engagement and to get feedback from the communities and across the city. We have not heard anything as of this point about those dates. Once we do, you'll know.
Great.
Okay.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Thank you, Jean. Stella Zhu.
Yeah, thanks, VJ. Just really quick, because I see Jessica and Shirley on, I wanted to thank them for hosting the CEC forums over 2 nights. It can't have been very easy to have invited 60 candidates and invite all of them and schedule them to hold a forum, but it was really a great opportunity to know that everybody who is running for a seat had the opportunity to speak directly to the voters. So I just wanted to thank the President's Council for doing that.
And thank you for acknowledging them. Thank you. Thank you all around. We're grateful. Awesome. So at this point, we'll have Ted, can you please bring forth the bylaws and let's have a vote, please.
Can everybody see that? So this is the bylaws resolution. And essentially, we've had multiple meetings on the bylaws. We had a committee meeting, we had a special meeting, then another special meeting. Then we actually presented the bylaws in their final version at our last calendar meeting on April 1st. And so, because that's part of the process of amending the bylaws. And so this is, it's kind of gone through many, many meetings, but essentially we're at the final end here to just vote on the new bylaws. So go ahead, BJ.
Hold on one second. So we can move to the voting at this point. Okay, so I'll just call your name and you can just say how you vote in favor if you are for or the new bylaws, to adopt the new bylaws. So this. Okay. Hold on one second, let's get that page up with everyone. Barbara Williams.
Yes.
Elena Amenova, she's not here, she's marked absent. Unexcused. Then we have Erica Cooper.
In favor, yes.
Thank you. Then we have, I'm just getting this thing up here really quickly. Then we have Annie Mealis King. Okay, he's not here. He's also marked Absent, not excused. Member Ted Chang.
Yes.
Member Michael Morrison.
VJ, I'd like to make a quick comment and then vote. I am concerned about Section 7 of the bylaws executive session, the aspects of empowering the executive committee to look into matters such as criminal inquiries, medical and financial issues. I feel those are way beyond the scope of the CEC. I'm also concerned about Article 3 regarding Article 10, Section 3 regarding violations and remedies. I'm concerned here that it just presents so many opportunities for mischief and manipulation of the system and delays and obstructing inquiries. Rather, my preference would be for the simple empowerment of a very strong executive, a president and a vice president, to set the rules and do quick rulings, not delay things for weeks and weeks and months and months. So therefore, I will vote against the bylaws.
Thank you, Micah. Member Robert Tamayev.
I am abstaining.
Member Howard Pollock.
Thank you, VJ. I am voting in favor of the bylaws. And just to make a brief comment, it's unfortunate that we had to engage in this process, but at the cost of what happened previously, we had to. This is the best we've come up with after many debates. And thank you to my colleagues for coming up with this. In favor.
Thank you. Member Rajwinder Kaur.
I'm in favor.
Thank you. Fiji Ramjan in favor. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it has passed. So we will adopt these new bylaws into this for the CEC. And then the next council, the new council that will be elected next year for the next 2 years, you will have a chance. You can stop sharing that. You will have a chance to also look at these bylaws, edit them and bring it for a vote also, and create a bylaws committee, etc., and have all that happen again. Each cycle of council members have that power to reshape and to redo as you see fit with the times, and it's a lot of work. FYI, it's a lot of work. We want to thank all the members who worked so hard on this bylaw, spending countless hours, and we tried our best to engage everyone. So it has passed. So we now can move on to our next chapter. So,
just as a minor point, these bylaws are effective at the end of this calendar meeting when we adjourn. So starting with the business meeting, we'll be under the new bylaws.
Thank you, Ted. So at this point, there's I think we have reached the end of our meeting for our calendar part. We have set a record time. It's 8:07 p.m. I'll ask our amazing Dr. Pate to please bring us closing remarks. Here she is.
Thank you. So it seems like it's too soon to end. I get you once a month. There's nothing else we can talk about.
I'm on it. I'm on it today. I'm on it. That's it. That's what happens. I've got a blazer on. That's what happens,
Well, I do have, if I can be brief, I'm going to try to be so brief. I do have a sport, like a teaser. Stella Zhu and I and several other members are working on a very special opportunity for District 28. Along with the FACE office, FACE and the Deputy Chancellor has extended to us the use of their videographer and a potential spot on public service television for us to begin to record some public service announcements around cross-cultural support of each other and anti-violence, anti-bias initiatives. Stella and I and one of my district interns have been working to put some things together in preparation of showcasing it to you all. We are very, very close. We're almost there. I just want to get everyone formal on paper that we have the support, and then we are going to ask a big ask of you, of all of you, that you perhaps consider a 10-second or 15-second statement around why it is so critically important that we practice unity and that I'm sorry, it's late today. I'm trying to be fast. So that we speak against violence against any people, but especially the violence that is occurring at this present time against our sisters and brothers of many hues and many cultures and many backgrounds. And so I want to tease you with that because we're so excited about it. There's so much going on all the time. I want to just shout out our CEC, every single member. You are empowered. The work that you are doing, people have no idea what you're doing. I am proud every single day. We work hard, but we're also pushing the system. Ted, you spoke about the letter that we sent to Central about 100% of funding of our schools, and I have to believe that that is contributing to what Chancellor Porter was able to effect here. And so District 28, multiple snaps up. Thank you so very much for allowing me to have this final word. See you soon, Stella. Next week.
Thank you, Dr. Pate. Thank you so much. And community members, parents, constituents, get the vaccine, please. Please, we want to get back to the new normal, whatever that is, right? We're not going to go back because we always want to go forward, right? So we're not going to go back. We want to go forward, but we're going to go forward safely. And, there's so much happening with the vaccines, with our children. Summer school is coming up. Summer Rising program is coming up there. Please, please, please go to the NYC DOE website and look into all these summer programs that's available, and make sure you get your kids vaccinated. Well, when that happens, and be cautious and keep being healthy. I want to thank all of you for always coming on board and staying with us every night, every meeting. We are grateful for all of you. And at this point in time, I invite all of you to, if you could unmute yourself. And you can show your faces if you can, and then we'll ask you to say goodbyes when we hear your voices, and I'll call this meeting adjourned at 8:11 p.m. We'll stay right here on at 8:20. 8:20 we'll start our business meeting, and you can all join with us also. Thanks to all of our interpreters. We are grateful for all of you. You're amazing. You're wonderful, and we thank you for what you do. We are grateful. Please unmute video and say bye-byes and say your highs and everything. Go ahead.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Good night. Thank you.
Bye. Good night.
Good
night. Good night.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Mancuso is here.
Thank you.
Thank you. Patricia Powell. We have Rajunda.
Everybody.
Melissa. We have Veronica Yvette Wade.
Hi.
Hello, Veronica. We have Faith Snyder. We have Effie Zachary. We have Max Friedman. Isadora Guzman, Alyssa Muklal. We have Joanne Almazar.
Shalisa, I saw your message in the chat. I guess it came a little bit late though. Sorry about that.
I know I missed. Can I speak for a moment there, Ted? I wanted to share my idea. BJ, I need your email.
Star Brown, thank you for being here. Carrie Lian.
How are you?
Veronica Wade.
Hi, Veronica.
Veronica.
Hi, Ari. Thank you. Melissa.
Alicia
Jean.
Sukra. Thank you for being
Jessica.
here. Lisa Hafiz.
Hi again.
There you go.
Hi,
Sonia
Barbara.
S. We thank you for being here. KW.
Hi again. Thank you, Sonia.
Thank you.
So you can all unmute yourself if you like. Please free. Shauna Black. Thank you for being here. Who else we have? Let's see.
Thank you, Sonia. Thank you, everyone.
Lisa Hafiz, thank you for
Good
being
night,
here.
everybody.
Good night.
Have a good night, everyone. Thank you so much.
Hi, Alicia. Thank you so much for being here. Saint Christopher, thank you for being here. Council members will be meeting back at 8:20. So you have a 5 minutes break. And then we start our business meeting. The community members, you can definitely stay back on for the business meeting.
This is the same link for the business meeting?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, just stay right on here. And then we do a business meeting, and then you're more welcome to stay by and listen, but we can't allow public comment at that point. So let's see here. All right, so
Vote was 6-1-1, right?
Me?
The vote, yeah, the vote was 6-1-1, I'm pretty sure.
Yes, yeah, exactly. 6-1 abstain, 1 no.
Okay.
It's yes, 1-1, yes.
Is your camera off?
Yes, it is. Barbara's camera is off.
That was my niece.
I know.
She didn't want anybody to see her.
Hi, Natifa. How are you? Good to see you. You can unmute.
Good night.
How you doing?
Okay, just tired.
Right. Listen, the days does not get
It's a
easy.
long day. Yeah.
My kid's like, Dad, that meeting again? I'm like, oh God.
Yeah,
Like,
I'm
what?
actually traveling, so it's been a little bit weird because we were driving up and down for the whole day. So, yeah.
Interesting. That's interesting. My kids think I have 2 jobs.
Everybody is
Jobs. I have 1. They think this is another job because I'm always on these platforms. Like, no.
Yeah, they have another.
I tell you. Okay, so what time is it? 8:15. Okay, so we'll meet back here at 8:15. You can stay on.
Oh boy.
I think BJ misspoke. It's 8:20, I'm pretty sure is what we agreed to.
I didn't hear you. What you said then?
Pretty sure we had said 8:20, right?
8:20. Yeah, 8:20. That's what I said.
Okay, yeah.
I said 8:30. I'm sorry. I meant 8:20.
You said 8:15.
Oh,
No, he said it's 8:15 now, so we'll meet back at 8:20.
15 now. We'll meet back. Thank you, Natifa. It's my accent. That's what happens.
You're right. You see that, Iman? My screen, everybody doubles. What's going on? I don't know. I don't know. It's messed up. I don't know what's going on. Erica?
Yes, I'm here. Hi,
Call me.
Barbara.
Give me a quick call, please.
Okay, give me like 2 minutes.
Okay, good.
All right.
Hello, hello, hello. Members, council members. We're back. There he goes. Okay, so now it's time. It's 8:20 p.m. We will, let's see, we have 1, 2, 3. That is here. 4. Barbara's 5, and we have Rajwinda, you here? Yes. Robert, you here? I see a camera here, but I'm not hearing you.
Yes, I am.
Good.
I'm here.
Awesome. And there's, I think, Micah. Micah, you here?
Yes, I'm here.
Awesome. So that we have enough. Okay, good. So this meeting is now 8:21 p.m. and this meeting is now called to session. Good afternoon. I'll do a quick roll call and then we'll start our business meeting. All right. Here we go. President Vijay Ramjan, I am here. First Vice President Barbara Williams.
I'm here.
Second Vice President Elena Amanova. She's not here. She just texted. She's not here. Mom, unexcused. Robert, Recording Secretary Erica Cooper.
Present.
Treasurer Andy Medesky. Okay, not excused. Member Ted Chang.
Here.
Member Michael.
Here.
Member Robert Tamayev.
Here.
Member Howard Pollock.
Present.
Member Rajun Dekar. Rajun, I think you say here. You right? Okay. Yes, I heard you, but your sound is a little off. Just FYI. Okay. Okay. So we just did that. The first, Crystal Weiss.
I am here.
Awesome. Great. Okay, great. So I want to follow along our agenda that we have here. So the first thing is our G&T letter that we have to send after our town hall. So I was suggesting that well, first of all, thank you all for showing up on that night. I'll just ask you all for a 1 minute, 30 seconds. That's a quick something. How you think it went, Barbara?
I don't know. It was great. At first there, I couldn't remember what you was talking about. Yeah, it was
G&T town hall.
Yeah, the town hall. Yeah, it was wonderful. It was. I was so happy to see so many people, and it was engaging because everybody had questions, and that was wonderful.
Thank you, Barbara. Next person we have is Erica.
Hey, how you doing? I definitely think it was well. You know, we see that there are two sides, and pretty much that's what was stated in the letter as well also. So it was good that all the parents got to give their perspective on it, and we were able to hear it.
Thank you. Ted Chang.
Yeah, no, I thought it went well. When I heard that, we were, it had been shared in some various other districts, I really didn't know what to expect. And then, of course, when the attendees showed up, I recognized a lot of names from out of district, so I was kind of not sure how it was going to go. But I really appreciated that a lot of the folks who were speaking were from the district and giving a lot of personal perspectives, which I just thought contributed to the conversation. Like, I know we had a lot of different ideas on the topic, but I really enjoyed the fact that people were just genuinely contributing their ideas on the topic. I always love a good dialogue. I don't expect agreement, but I really genuinely enjoy dialogue. So I thought that part was the best.
Thank you, Ted. Micah?
Vijay, I was tied up. I couldn't make it.
Okay. And then Robert?
I think it went well. I mean, we got different perspectives, kind of like everything else in this district. You have people on both sides, but it is what it is. But I'm glad that the parents got the option to express their views.
Yeah. Patience. Okay.
It's stuck in my speech. I can't do anything about it.
I know. Thank you, Robert. Howard?
We fulfilled our mandate. We let the parties come together, the interested parties present their points of view, and for that alone, I was happy. Glad the people there got to express their passion for G&T for, or G&T against, or even G&T middle. Happy with the results.
Thank you. And then car.
Yeah, that was great. Actually, I've been proud of that. At least the parents got to know that they have the platform there where they can speak, even if they're in favor or against. So they found something that someone is there who's there to listen, and always there for them. And we always, with the Dr. Pate, we always try our best, that they are being heard and they're not unheard. We try to be fair.
Thank you. Thank you. No, thank you all for showing up on these. I know we do a lot of different things, right? And every time we do these things, you got to show up. And we got to plan and we got to prepare. And it takes these last minute meetings and all these things. And I thank you all for really, when I had the idea to do this town hall, the idea was, again, to really give parents this idea, the chance to really be on, not sugar-coated, not guided, just unfiltered. Here are my thoughts on this. And we got that. So now we have to synthesize that information into data, right? And along with that, I will suggest that we do a second thing. And the second thing I'm suggesting is that we do is to do a survey. So there are parents who probably can't make it to these platforms because of work, technology, or whatever the case may be. But how can we work on a survey to really, a very simple, nothing crazy, very simple, 10 question, 15 question, 20 question max survey that to ask parents an open-ended piece. Of course, maybe that's not possible because we want their answers, to go out to the entire district, to the schools, to all these things. And then after having the survey and having this actual town hall data, we synthesize that together as a CEC and get that information. So I am suggesting two things. We create a little committee right now to really work on that survey, like how we had done in the past, and we got things out in really quickly. So that means by next Thursday, we'll have a survey out, right? Then by the end of the month, we end the survey and we present the results at our next meeting, which is a June 6th meeting. Is that our last meeting? It is, right? Like this council meeting.
Yes, it is.
God. So we have to present.
Is that going to be a real meeting, or is that's sort of the traditional celebration meeting? Are we going to?
We're gonna have meeting. We are gonna celebrate to a certain degree, but we also gonna have to do. We're in unique times, right? And I think parents will be much more happy to see we are actually doing the work on the back end about what we promised, right? And if we as a council, and this council as it is right now, if our last thing that we did is sending out this letter that we probably will, I think that would be great.
So I would. Sorry, I would like to volunteer, but if we're doing this, because I'm going to predict that there's going to be a repetition of what happened last time, where we're not going to get a hold of certain schools. So as we're doing this, so that we don't delay as before, can we have a solid plan of how we reach out to the schools? How do we ensure that every school is represented so that we don't have an argument yet again amongst us about, oh, well, this school was completely missed. Not a single parent from school B volunteered, and then there were 30 parents from school C. So this is a flawed data. So how do we make sure that doesn't happen? I would like that discussed before we go ahead and spend time on this. But I would volunteer to put some of the survey questions together.
100%, and that's what we're doing right now, right? So the idea was to just have let's the idea forth. Now let's think about how. So I'm thinking that we have, after the last situation where we didn't have the best information for parent coordinators and all that kind of stuff now, and also liaisons to various schools, we can play an extra role. So I think the first thing would be we could create a survey, right? Have the survey committee. 1, 2, have the survey out maybe by Monday, maybe by Tuesday of next week. That's with timing. And then we agree to send it out for a week and a half or 2 weeks. And Crystal can make sure every parent coordinator got it and it was sent out. We can get Dr. Pate involved. We can get Sonia involved.
And President's Council.
President's Council involved. Like really get the whole district on that level involved to make sure everyone is sending it out and not relying only on the parent coordinator. What do you guys think? Anyone have any other suggestions? Any other ideas?
I have a question to ask VJ. Don't our term go until July, so don't we have meeting in June and July?
No.
No, we don't?
The July meeting is the next cycle. So
new council.
I don't actually know when our council officially ends. I don't, maybe BB would know, but I don't know.
I thought our term starts from July to July.
Yeah, June 31st is supposed to be the end of our thing, and they take over July 1st.
Oh,
that makes sense.
Yeah, okay.
So our last meeting will be the June celebration slash meeting. We're gonna have our celebration that we could possibly have. Close my door, guys. And then we'll have this data presented as our final act of work as the council as we know it now. So I'm okay with this plan. Let's go with plan. Robert, you had a question about that. Does this idea sound okay for you? We're getting President's Council, Dr. Pate, get Sonia, get all the parent coordinators, principals. Like we really make sure we do a good push on making sure they all get this and send it out to all these schools. We can't control who respond, but we can control, like have some say in making sure at least it went out. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, as long as we get as many people as possible.
Okay, but I'm saying, right, so who wants to be on the committee to make the survey?
Can I just make a comment about, the sort of getting people involved before we move to that?
Close my door. Go ahead,
yeah, hopefully with just like a little bit more time on the front end of it in terms of like pushing it out to the parent coordinators and then really confirm, like getting actual confirmations on when it was sent out and things like that. With a little bit more time on the front end, maybe we can get a little bit more assurance that like it actually went out. So I think that's definitely going to help. And I'm also thinking that this survey may be a little bit easier to, I think the other thing that no matter what we do, we're going to have different response rates from different schools. And I think it might, to me, the way to make the data make the most sense is to kind of show responses either by school, just try to have some sort of like different ways to group. I was actually thinking one way to group would be to like have parents identify if they're, if they have a child in the program or don't. And they would just be able to sort of show different demographic groups a little bit and show the responses based on different groups. And I think that might help so that regardless of what the response rate is at any particular, so that, even if we have like a ton of like responses from this or that, we can still show sort of what the trends are depending on who the respondents were.
Okay, that's fine. So to the first part is, yes, so I guess I'm gonna ask you all, right? So Robert is back now. I think he's connected. He's back on right now. So what I'm asking is, who wants to be now on the committee to do the survey, to at least be a contributing member to the survey, building the survey?
I volunteer.
Thank you.
I will as well.
Ted, thank you. Anyone else wants to be in charge, like part of this committee to get the survey ready? And today is the 6th. I would say we want to have this survey ready by the first draft of it, possibly by Monday. Is that too short? First draft, the final draft of the survey by the 13th, which is 1 week from now. The 13th is next week, Thursday.
That's fine.
We'll do our best.
Justin's fine, Dad. Come on. Okay. So, all right. So let's do this. Let's have a timeline. By Monday the 10th. Crystal, you're taking notes, right? Thank you. Monday the 10th, we will have a draft sent out to members of the whole council. Hey, feedback. Because you don't want to finish the whole thing and then everyone has an issue with it. Monday, first draft, feedback. So Ted and Robert will be the members who will do the committee. Then we will have the 13th, May 13th, we'll have the final draft. And by May 14th, Crystal send it out to the schools.
You mean June places.
Pardon me?
You mean June 14th?
No, May 14th. We're doing it in this month, May, so we can present the data at our June meeting. right? You follow?
You
Robert?
have the dates mixed up, VJ. I'm going off what you said. You said next Thursday, then you said another day, and then you said by May 14th. And
Okay, so by May 10th, Monday, May 10th, we're gonna have the first draft of the survey.
Okay.
Then by Thursday, May 13th, we'll have the final draft.
Oh,
the
and
final
then
version.
by the 14th. Okay, I got you.
And then that's fine, of course, please.
My apologies.
No, never, ever, never. Thank you so much. Keeping check, please. And then the 14th, we'll have it go out. Crystal, on the 14th, right? Morning. Yeah. And then on Monday, we start doing the checks. Crystal, hey, did you receive my email? Did you get it out? And we want to have it sent out more than once. So there'll be a way, I'm sure, in the survey, we could always, if we have multiple people, like multiple responses from the same person, we could null it. We can null that response, right?
Okay. And as far as the survey, when is that supposed to go out again?
On the 14th.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
On the 14th, and then we'll have it out on the whole week. So we have from the 14th all the way till the 24th, until the 24th. Is that good?
Survey.
There's a nice full 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12 days, close to 2 weeks, 12 days.
Gotcha.
It's gonna be out into the public. That's 2 weekends and I have a whole week. Then we, the council, will have from the 25th to the 2nd of June to tally data and provide a plan. So by the 1st, so what I would say is by the 1st of Tuesday, June 1st, our check-in meeting, we would like Robert and Ted to present to the council the findings at our face check-in. And then, so with the first person that we will be seeing it will be at our face check-in and not at the meeting. Is that clear?
Fair enough.
And then at the June meeting, the June 3rd last meeting, we could present the findings. And at that point, we should have a very strong idea based on the poll and the survey, what the letter going out will be. Because we don't want to present these two data, just here's what we found. We should have an idea of what our letter will be going out to. What do you guys, what do you all think?
That's fair enough for me.
Yeah, good. I see thumbs up from Howard, Rajwinder, Micah, Robert, Ted, Erica.
Yeah, sounds okay to me.
So you're saying that we will kind of know what the data says
by the
going into the meeting, and so you want to have kind of a draft letter? Is that kind of the idea?
Right. So after we meet on the 1st, on Tuesday the 1st, you and Robert will present the data. You'll also have maybe Crystal could provide you all with the video recording of the last town hall, so you can get a synthesize what people said. 20 people were in favor of, 5 was against, 2 of them was, whatever you want to get from the letter. And then we have a basic gist of what the letter going to have. We wouldn't have a letter. I mean, if we have a letter, it's great. But on Tuesday the 1st, we can decide if we want to have a letter ready for the 3rd that we will send out. But you'll be working with the data, so you'll have all the information already, you and Robert. So I think it'll be good just to start putting that on paper in some way to say, hey, here is the findings, and we're not taking a side, right? Here are the findings of what D28 found about G&T, nothing else. It's a fact finding, or we're presenting a letter on the findings, nothing else. No one's personal preference or well, D28 feels this way. Here's the findings from our town hall and our survey. Please consider in your discussion about G&T.
Yeah, and don't make all the questions about the test, because the test is dead.
Right. So, well, they're going to answer the question, Robert. And so I just want to have an idea of how Ted, you and Robert are going to start working on this together.
No, we'll do what we did last time. We'll put together Google Drive. We'll both make some questions, come up with something, and then everyone can chime in at the face meeting.
Perfect. Who's going to start it?
I can start it.
I think we should. I know I'm going to go back and just start coming up with questions. I think maybe Robert should do the same thing, and then we'll just kind of like mash them together and just sort of try to, you know.
How about if Robert just start a document and then you put your questions there? That's
right, exactly.
Right. So start thinking of your questions, and then at least we have a path, right? And then by the 10th we get our first draft, and then by the 13th we have the final version. Great, awesome. Next step, treasurer's report. He's not here today. Kreyòl, anything to report on the finances at this point?
The only thing I would say is that all of the supplies were purchased. Good. So I did that last week, and we're all set with that. And if anyone would like to claim any reimbursements, please let me know. But we're good.
And thank you for working hard on all those reimbursements. We appreciate it. Also, the district office reached out to me and to Kreyòl about asking who's going to come back in the office. At this point, only Kreyòl is the person. I didn't put any of our names on there because we go back to the office at this point. So only Kreyòl is going back to the office at this point when they allow it. But she's not in the office every day, so don't expect her to fax and send things to you guys. Please don't do that. Also, our laptops came in, all the laptops. So I don't think so. Question. Logistically, getting you a laptop and then collecting back a laptop and all that stuff for the next council, the whole nine. Think about it. If you do need a laptop from now for 1 month, feel free. Let us know. We did order all these laptops for the council to use. The goal of these laptops is when we start whoever the next council is, we're gonna hand this over to them and say, hey, your team could save trees and don't use paper. Here are laptops if they're still remote or if they're in person, whatever the case may be. But we are all technologically inclined now, which is great. Next thing is, does anyone have anything that belongs to the DOE from the CEC? Any name? And Erica, I know we had a whole bunch of name tags and plates and anything like that. I don't want
They're in the office
for anything.
They're in the office. Everything was left there.
Beautiful. Okay.
Before the pandemic.
Perfect.
Yeah, and our little paper name tags, those were shredded.
Thank you.
It was shredded. No.
Yeah. We never got plaques. It was paper.
Yeah. It was paper.
And mine had coffee on it, so it wasn't good anymore.
We're gonna get the glass ones engraved forever and ever. Next month meeting. Next month meeting will be a celebration of like all of you council members of celebration like for you. Usually how it was in the past when hold on 1 second. I'll call you back with the meeting, okay? Okay. There's gonna be a little celebration where we're gonna be talking about the past year. So if you could all please come in to just say a few words, say something. We have you guys for all of us. So feel free to, if you write a little small letter, small speech. So we leave more time for other businesses also. And we also want to really acknowledge our district people. As we have discussed before, we would like to do this thing where we submit the names of some parents in our district that you all think that was amazing. You all felt like that parent stood out to you personally. So we're gonna ask council members to send your submission in for that one parent, one of them. It doesn't have to be a parent. It'd be one person in our district who comes to our meetings. Well, we want it to be a parent, but you know what I mean, guardian parent. Send us your name, and that'll be an award from the council for that parent. We want to encourage parent participation and continue to encourage and highlight their commitment to these spaces. So please, if you haven't done so already, submit your name of one parent or guardian that you would like CEC28 to acknowledge. This is something new that I came up with. I think it's amazing. We should do it. Okay.
Just one clarification, BJ. So it's just for 1 month? Because I thought I gave 2 names. I was a little confused. So is it just 1 month?
Yeah, so we can't do one for each month. What we'll do is at the end of the year, we'll just select, each of you submit one name.
Okay.
I'm sorry if it wasn't clear. One name.
No, because I had submitted 2 names, right, Kreyòl? I thought it was one for May, one for June.
That's okay.
Yes, I got 2 names from you, Erica.
Choose one, Erica, that you would like to say why, and each of you who choose the name that you chose, you will present that to that parent, and make sure they show up on the meeting, please, on the June. So when you present to them virtually, but you have the actual award, you will say why you chose them and X, Y, and Z. Yeah, awesome.
So I have something to say, VJ. So yesterday I was in a meeting, and some parents was talking about how they have not seen their school liaison at their school. It was a SLT, the SLT meetings that they have not seen their liaison showed up. So we're trying, President's Council is trying to collaborate with CEC to do a chat with including Sonia with SLT members to kind of explaining that it's not really our fault, because some SLT members, including principals, were saying that they didn't even know that they had to send out an email to CEC to invite them to their SLT meeting. Most people don't know why we're there or the reason why we're showing up at the SLT meeting. So we're trying to, do a chat with President's Council, including Sonia, to explain these situations as soon as possible, so parents could know, for the next CEC groups that's coming in, why it's important for CEC members to be at the SLT meeting and why they have not seen us at the SLT meeting because we did not get the email. So this is it's a very hot topic, and I think it's going to be interesting. So just to give you guys the heads up. So just look out for a email from President's Council and Sonia, and we could do that as soon as possible.
And we don't have to go to every SLT meeting. We should know that, right? We don't have to go to. So I saw your hand. CEC members don't have to go to every month CEC SLT meeting. That's not the point of that. Was never to do that every month, right?
Yeah.
So those who do go to every month, that's great. But that's not the expectation. If you go once or twice, 3 times, good for you. Go at least.
Yeah, but some of them are saying that they have never seen us at any SLT meeting.
Okay.
And then the principals were saying, or the chair for the SLT was saying, they did not know they have to send an email out or an invitation to the CEC for us to be at the SLT meeting. They didn't know. And then some was complaining that we never showed up. You know what I'm saying?
I see.
That's what it is.
Barbara.
Yeah.
Couldn't we just coordinate? I mean, I know we'll kind of go through the principles and Sonia will help out, but we have already seen how that doesn't work. It's like some of the principals, and sometimes they notice the email, but they must be just bombarded with emails and they just probably just don't notice, or it's not high on their priority list, which is totally understandable. They're principals. Couldn't, all the PTA presidents are on the SLT. Can't we just coordinate directly with President's Council for a lot of these, SLTs, and just say if you know who your liaison is and you're at President's Council, just forward the invite to your CEC liaison and just skip the whole principal parent coordinator thing, get it direct. I'm saying as one way to just make sure that people get the info.
Yeah,
so
that exact question that you're asking, Ted, came up, and Sonia's response was, it's subjected to the open meeting law. And so anybody from the SLT, PTA president, or whosoever is the chair of the SLT can send it out. So that question did come up, and yes, it exactly what we're trying to put in place, where President's Council is responsible for getting you guys the email to the SLT meetings.
Yeah, that would definitely just help
Yeah,
things a
because
lot.
principals, sometimes they don't, it's not only the principals, but sometimes the principals are bombarded, like you say, and they don't know. But anybody that's on the SLT, especially the chair of the SLT and the PTA presidents, are responsible to send the emails out.
So I was going to say, I think definitely, Barbara, if you could take Sonia and to President's Council, like maybe we should have a collaboration meeting with them to really set the precedence of what we're expecting, and then feedback like Ted's feedback can be said at those meetings where we kind of joint meeting with CEC, President's Council, and Sonia District, so we can really fix this issue and have to, for a new council, to at least we'll have some kind of like working system so that they don't have to do it over again. So I appreciate this over here and see if we can do figure that out for us. Yeah.
Okay, no problem.
Thank you, Barbara.
Yeah, it's kind of a meet and greet, not really a chat. It's a meet and greet. Yeah.
Okay. Old business. Anything old business? I know, Howard, there's something you wanted to talk about today.
Old and then new.
Yes.
Old, I just want to say thank you to some of my colleagues who reached out to me personally, asked how I was after the whole bylaws meetings. You have my heart. I thank you. It meant a lot to me for those who did reach out. As for new business, very, very simply, I just like to, at our next meeting in June, I would just like to have Dr. Pate elaborate on what curriculum is in place that they are teaching our kids, respect for all, tolerance. I just want to get a clarification on that. I hope all of you will support me on this. Thank you.
Definitely. Well,
okay. You're welcome, Howard.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, definitely, Crystal, you could put that down for new business, and we can reach out to Dr. Pate in terms of the what a council member. Yeah, all of you can request things. I mean, let it, and then we'll send an email, one email about what we were expecting to hear about, right? So thank you, Howard. Anyone else? Any old business? Anybody else?
Just quickly, Howard, are you respectful? Are you talking about the anti-Asian violence kind of related to that, or is it like?
No, I mean, they have a respectful program that is already in the schools. Some schools teach it more effectively than others. I want to know generally for the district, what is the nature of the curriculum being taught on the grade levels for tolerance, anti-bullying, because I believe it begins in the elementary schools and middle schools. That's where we have to start. So I just want to get an idea of what's being taught, what the curriculum is for D28.
Okay. Okay. Crystal, you got that?
Got it.
Anyone else have any old business? Okay. New business. Anything new? Does anyone have any topics or any situation that you want us to bring up next month? Any clarification? Any things you need to know for next month? Any ideas, suggestions for presentation? Again, before we do so, we don't want to have that meeting too long presentations, only because we have certain things that we want to accomplish on that last meeting. So go for it. Okay, your silence is great. Thank you. I heard you loud and clear. Thank you. So we will plan the next month's meeting like we've always been doing, Crystal and I. We're trying to bring you the best information that we can get in the district about the summarizing programs, all the other programs that we have. Crystal, can you please make sure that our website has all the summer programs information there? Can you also send out a separate email blast to the entire district with all the summer programs that they have right now that's happening with UICD, I think it's called, and all the other things that are happening in the district? Yeah, is that okay?
Yes, got it.
And we could definitely provide like a summer brochure. Definitely to Sonia, Jessica, and Barbara, and see if they don't know any other information. Like a flyer from CEC28 that will have, hey, summertime's coming, here's what's happening. So parents can have this little resource guide in a way to help them as we transition from spring to summer. And then there's so many uncertainties about fall, but at least they'll have numbers to call, etc. And you and I will talk more about what that looks like.
Okay.
It's now, oh my God, 8:54. Do you all believe this? Okay. 4 p.m. We are getting better at the last meeting. Look at that. Okay. Everyone, it's now 8:55 p.m. This meeting is adjourned. Woohoo!
Good night, everyone.
Good night, everyone.
Good night. Good night. Nice seeing you, Micah.
Good night, everyone.
Micah, he's not gonna leave you tonight, Micah. You don't have to tell us you're leaving by early. The train
Good night.
It's 9 o'clock. Go home though.
Good night, everyone.
Bye, Natifa. Good night. Good
All
night.
right,
Good
have a
night.
good one.
Good night.
Good
Good night,
night.
Latifa. Good night, Ted.
Good night. Rajwin, are you cooking?
Good night, you guys.
Good night, all.
Good night.
Good night.